responsibility of the President of the United States to be commander-in-chief with a level of respect. And this gets back to the point of how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold the strength and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, your response to her saying that you began the negotiations with the Taliban.
So, if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, you know, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, it was we were getting out. We would have been out faster than that, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind. And we wouldn't have left.
It's you.
We wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do. And these people did the worst withdrawal, and in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something, I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words, so
I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was
What's up, chat?
not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think it's, I mean, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have
Thank you.
someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his
Thanks for
career,
subbing.
attempted to use race to divide the American people. You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was
Kamala will lose.
he owned buildings, and he was investigated.
Pagani is the
because
best. What's
he
your
refused to
job?
rent property to black families.
I'm a manager now.
This is the same individual who took out
My day's pretty good. How about
in
you?
the New York Times, calling for the execution of 5 young black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5. Took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first black president of the United
Checked on my
States.
sheep earlier. I got a couple of them gonna be lambing soon. Stay tuned.
Want better than that. Want better than this. Want someone who
Yeah, I
understands the
worked
right to
enough
travel
and learned
the
enough to
country.
where now I don't have to physically
We
do
see
anything.
in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't
Still
want
do a little bit of
leader
that.
who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest
states
in
the obvious, like pulling a
aspirations
Trump
and the
card.
ambitions and the dreams of the American people. Knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president
I have go
who
back to
invests
my
in
race.
those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris.
What you mean by that?
Lindsay?
President Trump, this is now your 3rd time
This
God
is
bless
the
all
most
you.
divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our
See you in
country,
10 minutes.
and they come up with things like what she just said.
I'll see you
Go
soon.
back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park fight. They admitted, they said, they pled
Trump
guilty.
2024, baby.
And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, well, not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history
Dr.
of the
Mass
world. And I'm gonna build it
asked
again.
Iran
It's
or
gonna be bigger,
Israel.
better, and stronger.
Where are you
But
from?
they're
I'm
destroying
from.
our economy. They have no
I'm
idea what
Romanian,
the
but
economy
I live in
is.
Texas.
Their oil policies, every single policy. And remember this, she is Biden. You know, she's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know the gentleman, she says.
Is
She
it Iran
Biden.
from
The worst
Israel?
inflation we've ever had, a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad, and she can't get away with that.
Thank you.
I want to just respond briefly. Clearly, I'm not.
Yeah, I met Buddy.
And I am certainly.
I made a couple friends in Oregon, and
new generation of leadership for our country.
one of them was in college, and his dad was from India, and he raises sheep. It was pretty cool. I made a friend. He invited me over there, but I don't know what area it was.
The American people, I believe.
I think he
in what we
subbed to
can
my
do
channel, though.
to strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have a plan.
I would love to go.
About our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a plan to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction, to pursue.
I don't know that
ambitions,
food.
Their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000 for young families for the first year of your child's life, to help you in that most critical stage
India,
of
I'm
your
pretty sure
child's
India is
development.
near
I have
Iran
a plan
and
that is
Afghanistan,
about
yeah.
allowing people to be able to pursue what has been fleeting in terms of the American
Didn't they
dream,
have like
by
a
offering help with
some
down
kind of
payment
confrontation on the
$25,000
river,
down payment assistance for first-time home
like
buyers.
this year?
That's the kind of conversation, I believe, David, that people really want tonight, as opposed to a conversation that is constantly about belittling and name-calling. Let's turn the page
Vice
and
President
move
Harris,
forward.
thank you. Let's turn to policy.
President
Let's turn
Trump, we
to
have to
policy.
move on. President Trump.
Let's turn to policy,
She
please.
has a plan to defund the police. She has a flat plan to confiscate
My
everybody's
buddy was
gun.
talking to me,
She has a plan to not allow
saying you can't
in
see
Pennsylvania or anywhere else. That's
her left ear. I mean, left ear on the screen, but her actual right ear. I wonder if she has a speaker or a little headset in there.
Now your third time running for president. You have long vowed to repeal and replace the
Wouldn't put it
Affordable Care
past
Act,
her.
also known as Obamacare. You have failed to accomplish
I'll
that.
come to
You
India.
now say you're going to keep Obamacare, quote, unless we can do something much better. Last month you said, quote, we're working on it. So tonight, 9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health.
Where in India
Always
do you
was.
live?
It's not very good today. And when I said that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're gonna do it and we're gonna replace it. But remember this, I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous.
I'm a
They wouldn't
Christian,
vote to
but
change it.
I
If they
love
had done that, we would have
Muslims.
a much better
Like, I have nothing but love for you guys.
But the Democrats came up, they wouldn't vote for it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be? Never gonna be
I have
good. Or do
one of
I
my best
let it
friends is
rot?
Muslim.
And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just explain. I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing. But it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan
Nice,
that's going to
Hindu.
cost our people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it.
That's cool.
But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now. But if we come up with something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better, less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that. And you'll be hearing about it in the not too distant future.
Vice President Harris, in
up, Corey?
2017, you supported Bernie Sanders' proposal to do away with private insurance and create a government-run healthcare system. 2 years later, you proposed a plan that
Yeah, I mean,
included a
have-
private insurance
it takes a
option.
lot of
What is your plan today?
Courage to even
I absolutely
tell people that you have a
explored over the last
belief,
4 years
but
as vice president, private healthcare options,
it's
but what we need to do is maintain.
not easy to be religious, but I like my relationship more than my religion.
That the former president has made. I've made very clear my position on fracking, and then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away, so stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand,
Love you, Corey.
look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald Trump was president, 60 times he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. 60 times. I was a senator at the time. When I will never forget the early morning hours when it was up for a vote in the United States Senate, and the late, great John McCain, who you have disparaged as being, you don't like him, you said at the time, because he got caught. He was an American hero. The late, great John McCain, I will never
We do,
forget
man.
that night, walked onto the Senate floor and said, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't get rid of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan. And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell people watching tonight, you remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company could deny if a child had asthma, if someone was a breast cancer survivor, if a grandparent had diabetes? And thankfully, as I've been vice president, and we over the last 4 years have strengthened the Affordable Care Act, we have allowed for the first time Medicare to negotiate drug prices on behalf of you, the American people. Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. He never did. We did. And now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. Since I've been vice president,
This guy said, you know, Kamala Harris is Indian.
medication for seniors at $2,000.
I just heard she was black, so I don't know.
We will do that for all.
They just said she's black, but she might be Indian too.
Value I bring to this
Are you lying to
is
me?
that access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. And the plan has to be.
He said, your brother's so handsome.
Not get rid of it. That's the
President
prologue
Harris,
in
thank
terms
you.
of where Donald Trump stands on
I
that.
want to move to an issue that's important for a
You
lot
made a
of
mistake. And number one, John McCain fought Obamacare for 10 years. But it wasn't only him. It were all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare, much less money. But she won't improve private insurance for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to do. People are paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody
I think it's
to be on government
55
insurance
inch.
with 6 months for an operation.
But that was a good guess.
President Trump, thank you. We have another issue that we'd like to get to that's important for a number of Americans, in particular younger voters, and that's climate change. President Trump, with regard to the environment, you say that we have to have clean air and clean water. Vice President Harris, you call climate change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what would you do to fight climate change? And Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said the climate change is a hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either being denied home insurance or it's being jacked up. You ask anybody who has been the victim of what that means in terms of losing their home, having nowhere to go. We know that we can actually
What the-
this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am proud that as vice president over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic levels. We have created over 800,000
My name's Nathan.
manufacturing jobs while I have been vice president. We
Nathan
have
from
invested
Matei
in
Farms.
clean energy energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs.
Who is
I'm
that,
also
dude?
proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes
Will I eat my beard?
what we can do around
I used to
American
chew on it when it was
manufacturing
longer.
and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
It didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month.
Dude, yesterday I saw some guy begging for money on.
They're building big auto plants in Mexico, in many cases owned by China.
Brother.
They're building these massive plants, and they think they
Crush
can
all you
sell
want, just don't
cars
act
into
on
the
it.
United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable. But we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country because they will kill the United Auto Workers and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place. What they've done.
Hopefully y'all could hear the debate in the back.
In this country is horrible. We have nothing because they.
Usually my streams don't have any content.
Trump doesn't go after people because supposedly
It's just me.
China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it.
Sorry.
Between him and his son, they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries, and then you wonder why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he? Why did he get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
I don't know if I am or when, but I would like to go.
ABC News presidential debate from Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
If anything, I'll evangelize to him.
Dude, it looks so good. Look at this. I'm gonna go close the gate for us. He cleaned all that out. All the way to there.
Dang,
He
dude.
pushed all that dirt that was right here, over there. Pretty much covered up the roots, dude.
She's not here? There's a break on the debate. I might go outside if you guys want to see some of my sheep. Maybe my emus are outside. Where did that light go? My brother's married, by the way, and he has 3 kids.
Oh, I was talking.
My brother's visiting from Oregon for some work. Yeah, I'm married too, man. See, I don't have hate towards people. My job is as a missionary is to show the love of Christ. So God bless you, man. I hate that you have that desire, but I love you as a human being, you know? This is my doggy. And I have some emus. Oh, right. That's one of them. Make sure I'm not standing in any ants. That's a Lemieux. And this is Elizabeth. Good night, man. Shoot, look at all them. That's Donda from Urban Rescue Ranch. And Drake's in here somewhere. Where are you, Drake? Oh, there's Drake right there. I got them from Uncle Ben like a couple of years ago. Just stepped on an anthill. What's up, Zara? What's up, baby girl? I think the debate might have started back up again.
So much.
Oh, crap. The debate started again.
Senator and now Vice President, I only have one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump?
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it, and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You go back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake